You can't explain driving this new Corvette. You've got a new engine, new transmission, you've got the mid-engine. There's a lot of newness about this vehicle that makes it revolutionary.
Let's do a once-over of this once-in-a-lifetime vehicle. First, some interior conveniences. We have the glove box, which locks when in valet mode. There's an accessory power outlet here under the glove box for cell phones and other chargeable accessories. The center console storage compartment can be accessed by pressing this button. USB and auxiliary ports are inside. This compartment locks with the car and in valet mode. The electric parking brake is located here and can always be activated even if the ignition is off. This is how you use the available lumbar adjustment and bolster adjustment. The available head-up display control is here, to the left of the steering wheel. To pair a phone, use the infotainment screen and select the phone icon, then Connect Phone, Add Phone. Now from your phone's Bluetooth setting, select the name of the infotainment screen and follow the instructions. For NFC pairing information and more, see your infotainment system manual. Now for the doors. If you've got your key fob within 3 feet of the door handle, just grip and press the door handle touchpad. If the vehicle has lost battery power, you can open the door manually with a key. If you're inside the vehicle and power is lost, to open the door, pull up on the emergency door release handle located on the floor next to the door sill. Here's where you release the hatch, or trunk. You can also use your key fob, or press the release touchpad here when the vehicle is unlocked. To close it, you just pull part way with light force, and it'll go the rest of the way on its own. You can open the hood with the release button when the vehicle is in park. You can also press twice on the remote key, or locate the touchpad in the grille opening near the driver's side headlamp. Press it once to release the hood. With any of these approaches, you'll then need to lift the hood slightly until it automatically raises and holds. Opening the hood with no electrical power should only be done in an emergency. Then you'll use the manual release cable located by the brake pedal. The hood is not heavy enough to latch under its own weight. It will remain open until the striker is pushed into the latch. Firmly press down on the front edge of the hood until it clicks twice. To access the battery, first the right hand and left hand side shields need to be removed. Then remove the second cover assembly. If your Corvette isn't driven weekly or the battery is disconnected or drained, you may want to opt for the battery maintainer package. Just plug it into a standard electrical outlet and then into the underhood accessory power outlet. It's recommended to use a battery maintainer.
And you just keep that connected while you have your vehicle stored, so there's no worries when you go to start your vehicle after it's been stored for weeks or months, and you can hit the road.
But if you don't have one and plan to use your Corvette infrequently, you can remove the negative cable from the battery to keep it from running down. When the battery power is restored, the windows will need to be indexed by cycling them up and holding up for a second. If you ever have a loss of power, see your owner's manual. Lastly, do not take your Corvette through an automatic car wash. Some car washes may damage the wide wheels and tires and aren't compatible with Corvette's ground clearance.
The safest thing to do is to hand wash your brand new baby.
When it comes to how you drive your Corvette, it's personal. Your Corvette comes standard with the driver mode selector. On the mode knob, you'll find the preset weather, tour, sport, and track modes, as well as My Mode. Z mode is accessed by the steering wheel button. The mode you're in is displayed here on the Driver Information Center. Let's touch on when and why you'd use these modes. Weather mode is specifically for driving on wet or icy surfaces. It is not intended for use when the vehicle is stuck in sand, mud, ice, snow, or gravel. Tour mode is your default setting for normal city and highway driving. Sport mode is for when road conditions or personal preference demand a more controlled response. Track mode is designed for track use and gives you maximum vehicle performance settings.
Love the sport mode because it gives you kind of that edgy feel and response as you're driving. When you're in tour, it's a little bit more quiet, a little more calm. It's the mode that you want to start your car in at 4:30 in the morning so you're not waking up your neighbors. But that sport mode will definitely wake up somebody. It's got a nice, wonderful sound to it that you know that you're driving a Corvette with lots of power.
There's nothing you need to do for these 4 modes, but beyond those, there are 2 modes that allow you to customize nearly every component of driving. Those are Z mode, your ideal setting for spirited driving with more of a single-use application, and My mode, used to personalize everyday driving as it can be left set over ignition cycles. Let's start with Z mode.
My favorite mode is the new Z mode. That allows you to go into the infotainment screen and set each parameter, and then can be activated with a simple push of the steering wheel button.
You can personalize almost every aspect of your experience by configuring subsystems including engine sound, steering, powertrain, and brake response. You may also have available magnetic ride suspension. Z mode is set from the factory with a combination of sport and track settings. To activate Z mode, press the button here on the steering wheel. To deactivate, either select a different mode through the mode knob, or press the Z mode button again, which will set it back to Tour mode. My mode is very similar to Z mode, but lacks the powertrain configuring. It will let you home in on what feels best to you for everyday driving. My mode is set in Tour settings from factory, but can be adjusted under settings on the center screen. Mode features will vary depending on your Corvette's equipment.
The Corvette has long been the crown jewel of Chevrolet.
At GM, every time we take on the task of designing a new Corvette, it must build on its storied history and push towards the future.
This car, the all-new 2020 Corvette, is one that changes everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, the all-new 2020 mid-engine Corvette.
The design challenges for the Corvette were unique. Everything had to be changed. Our mission was to make the finished product not just unmistakably Corvette, but an exotic supercar version of a Corvette.
The beating heart of the Corvette, the engine, at 495 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque, making this the most powerful Corvette ever.
When the 2020 Corvette Stingray goes on sale in the U.S., it will start at less than $60,000.
No Corvette has ever felt so comfortable, nimble, and so completely stable.
The 2020 Chevrolet Corvette is going where no Corvette has gone before, and we're all thrilled to ride along.
From a design standpoint, the vehicle had to be incredibly beautiful, and at the end of the day, when you step back and look at it, it has to say Corvette.
It's part art, so hand sculpting clay, and part digital, math-based design. I think a lot of the leadership thought we want to go to mid-engine because it's cool, you know, because most exotic sports cars in the world were mid-engine, but actually we were doing it because we felt like we were reaching the limit of our performance capability in the architectures that we had, and so we had to do something to move that forward.
When I first heard that they were going to make the new Corvette mid-engine, really it was a game changer.
We're bordering on 70 years of this vehicle. So you have this lineage to it that you have to maintain, but you also have to be willing to grow and take it further.
With the mid-engine attributes, you'd have the rear weight bias from the engine for better acceleration, performance, and track times, as well as the low forward cowl for excellent visibility, and the lighter front, which really makes the car fun to drive.
Corvette is an emotional driving experience. No matter who you are in life, when you get into a Corvette, you're a superhero. We needed a bespoke transmission, custom designed for this car, because we have engines that produce massive amounts of torque, so the DCTs that are on the shelf wouldn't stand the Corvette duty cycle.
Is you've got a shaft that has your even forward gears, 2, 4, 6, 8, and your odd gears, 1, 3, 5, 7, and you can simultaneously be disengaging one shaft while you're engaging the other one. So it's quicker than a human being could shift a manual transmission. This way you get the lightning fast, less than 100 milliseconds shift when you need it.
What if we could do a new definition of a mid-engine sports car, not just for high-performance driving, but to go on trips, adventures, just make the driving to work an experience?
Utility of the car has been something we focused on too, ensuring that we've got a space for people to store luggage or groceries or what have you. So we have a front storage section that's very deep. We've got a trunk in the rear that not only accommodates 2 bags of golf clubs, but also stows the removable roof panel.
Driver mode, which is what most people are used to as tour, sport, track, and weather. My mode and Z mode are actually just 2 additional modes. Tour, we look at it as a balanced mode that's good at everything. Sport is a little bit more catered toward the spirited driving. Track is all about the response and how the vehicle handles around maximum cornering, maximum acceleration, and maximum driver feel of the road. What my mode and Z mode will allow you to do is for the driver to configure it themselves. The design intent of Z mode is for a single use case. You could set up Z mode for that curvy road that you go on every day on the way to work. Click on Z mode, do your curvy road, and then go back to my mode, and that's your day.
What we wanted to do was kind of go to a 3-seat strategy.
With the GT1 seat, that gives you your perfect everyday kind of driving seating position, comfortable bolsters. The new entry that we have for this one is the GT2.
The GT2 seat is really, really an exciting seat. It's a Napa leather. It has the most color blocking opportunities. It's a really beautiful formed seat.
The other side effect of that is it allowed us to really dial up the competition seat.
So we brought in a new material. It does a couple of things. One, it holds you in, and then the other side of it is it eliminates a little bit more leather because every ounce counts on this vehicle, especially when you're tracking it.
When we started designing the interior, we wanted to make sure that it felt uniquely Corvette, but it feels like no Corvette you've ever been in before.
We're going from 10 colors to 12 colors. This will be the most we've ever offered. What we're finding is that our consumers want to bring a little bit of their own identity in the car and really want to exemplify who they are and bring their own emotion out. And then the other main point that we did on the interior was the stitching and seatbelts. And this is really giving you a step above black when you go down that path.
Drivers can now raise the front of their Corvette almost 2 inches in less than 3 seconds with the available front lift. While it can be manually activated, it can also be programmed to remember the GPS locations of up to 1,000 obstacles throughout your commute so that you don't, for example, have to remember to activate it every time you arrive home to a steep driveway.